When we think of history, our minds conjure images of powerful figures and monumental events. We see pharaohs commanding legions of workers, emperors leading armies, and visionaries drafting constitutions. We picture the grand tapestry of human achievement, woven with threads of ambition, conflict, and ingenuity. It's a story of kings and queens, generals and philosophers, inventors and explorers. But this is only half the story. Running parallel to the saga of humanity is another, often invisible, narrative. It's a story written not in ink, but in hoof prints, paw prints, and wing beats. If you believe history was shaped by humans alone, you need to hear this. Because beneath the surface of our recorded past, a silent kingdom of animals has been steering the course of empires, sparking revolutions, and defining our very existence. They are the unsung architects of our world. From the dawn of civilization, these creatures have been our partners, our adversaries, and our saviors. They have saved lives in the most unexpected ways, and in some cases, brought entire civilizations to their knees. Their influence is so deeply embedded in our lives that we often fail to see it, yet it has fundamentally changed the way we live today. So, let's pull back the curtain on the human-centric stage of history and dive into the unbelievable true stories of the animals who were the real power behind the throne. Let's start with the most fundamental pillar of civilization: agriculture. Imagine a world without the immense power of beasts of burden. No sturdy oxen to haul heavy stones or plow vast, unyielding fields. The agricultural revolution, the very event that allowed humans to settle down and build villages, would have been impossible. The domestication of the ox provided a living engine, a biological tractor that could do the work of 10 people. This surplus of power led to a surplus of food, which in turn allowed populations to grow, freeing up hands and minds for other pursuits: art, governance, and science. Cities could not have risen from the dust without these powerful animals first tilling the soil that fed them. And then there is the horse. No animal has so profoundly impacted human mobility, warfare, and expansion. Once domesticated on the plains of Central Asia, the horse didn't just make us faster, it remade our world. Consider the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan's dominion, the largest contiguous land empire in history, was built entirely on horseback. His warriors were masters of mounted archery, a swift and terrifying force that could cover 100 miles a day, striking with lightning speed and disappearing back into the steppe. The horse was their ultimate weapon, their transport, and their sustenance. From Alexander the Great, whose legendary bond with his steed Bucephalus carried him across Asia, to the knights of medieval Europe, whose dominance depended on the powerful warhorse, history is a parade of cavalry charges. Even communication was revolutionized. For a brief, brilliant moment in American history, the Pony Express relied on rugged horses and daring riders to carry mail across 2,000 miles of treacherous terrain, connecting a nation faster than ever before. But the horse wasn't the only transport that redrew the map. In the world's great deserts, the camel became the ship of the desert, its incredible endurance and adaptation to arid climates making trans-Saharan trade possible. These caravans linked Africa to the Middle East and Europe, moving gold, salt, and ideas across an impassable sea of sand. And who can forget the sheer shock and awe of the war elephant? When Hannibal of Carthage marched his army, complete with dozens of these colossal beasts, over the frozen Alps to attack Rome, he wasn't just waging war, he was deploying a psychological weapon, a living siege engine that struck terror into the hearts of the world's most disciplined soldiers. Animals didn't just provide muscle, they created entire economies from scratch. For over 3,000 years, China held one of the most valuable secrets in the world, a secret born from a tiny, unassuming caterpillar, the silkworm. The painstaking process of cultivating these worms on mulberry leaves, harvesting their cocoons, and weaving the threads into a luminous, lightweight fabric produced silk, a luxury so coveted it launched the most famous trade route in history. The Silk Road wasn't just a highway for goods, it was a conduit for culture, religion, technology, and language, all flowing between East and West. Entire cities prospered, and empires grew rich, all thanks to the delicate thread spun by a humble insect. The desire for this single animal product literally connected the world. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, another animal was shaping the destiny of a continent: the beaver. The insatiable European demand for beaver pelts, primarily for fashionable felt hats, fueled the exploration and colonization of North America. The fur trade drove trappers and explorers deep into the wilderness, establishing forts and trade routes that would later become major cities. This relentless pursuit of beaver pelts sparked wars between France and Britain, reshaped ecosystems, and forever altered the lives of Native American tribes. The very map of Canada and the northern United States was drawn by men following the beaver, but the impact of animals extends far beyond labor and commerce. Sometimes, their role was a matter of life and death on the battlefield. During the chaos of World War I, with communication lines constantly being cut, the humble carrier pigeon became a hero. One of these birds, named Cher Ami, was dispatched by an American battalion that was trapped behind enemy lines, suffering from friendly fire. As she took flight, she was shot through the breast by enemy fire, blinded in one eye, and her leg was left hanging by a single tendon. Yet, she continued her flight for 25 miles in just 25 minutes. She delivered her message, which read, "Our own artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it." Cher Ami saved the lives of the 194 surviving soldiers of the Lost Battalion. A single bird turned the tide of a desperate battle. But just as an animal can be a savior, it can also be an unwitting harbinger of doom. In the mid-14th century, a catastrophe of unimaginable scale swept across Eurasia: the Black Death. And while the plague was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, its devastating spread was made possible by an accomplice: the black rat. Stowing away on merchant ships and caravans, these rats carried infected fleas from the ports of the Black Sea into the heart of Europe. The result was apocalyptic. In just 5 years, the Black Death wiped out an estimated 30 to 50% of Europe's population. This colossal loss of life didn't just cause immense suffering, it shattered the foundations of society. With labor suddenly scarce, the rigid feudal system crumbled. Peasants could demand better wages and conditions, leading to social upheaval and eventually, the rise of a new middle class. A single species of rodent, and the tiny parasite it carried, inadvertently triggered one of the most significant social and economic transformations in human history. The animal kingdom's influence is just as profound in the world of science and medicine, where they have been our teachers and our test subjects. The very concept of vaccination, one of the greatest life-saving discoveries ever made, comes from a cow. In the late 18th century, the English physician Edward Jenner noticed that milkmaids who contracted a mild disease called cowpox seemed to be immune to the terrifying and deadly smallpox. Acting on this observation, he conducted a revolutionary experiment. He took material from a milkmaid's cowpox sore and inoculated a young boy. The boy became mildly ill but quickly recovered. Jenner then exposed him to smallpox, and the boy remained healthy. He was immune. The word vaccine itself comes from the Latin word for cow, vacca. A simple observation about a farm animal gave humanity its most powerful tool against infectious disease, saving countless millions of lives. Decades later, a voyage to a remote archipelago would lead to a discovery that changed our understanding of life itself. When Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands, he collected specimens of local wildlife, including a group of unassuming finches. He noted that the birds were all similar, but their beaks varied dramatically from island to island. Some had thick, strong beaks for cracking nuts, while others had slender, pointed beaks for probing insects. Darwin realized that these birds had adapted over time to their specific environments and food sources. This observation of finches became a cornerstone of his theory of evolution by natural selection, a revolutionary idea that explained the diversity of life on Earth and our own place within it. A few small birds helped redefine biology and philosophy forever. Our debt to animals even extends to the stars. Before any human dared to venture into the void, we sent animals as our pioneers. In 1957, a stray dog from the streets of Moscow named Laika became the first living being to orbit the Earth. Her lonely, one-way journey aboard Sputnik 2 was a monumental step in the space race, proving that an organism could survive the rigors of launch and weightlessness, paving the way for human spaceflight. And in the microscopic world of genetics, the humble fruit fly, Drosophila melanogaster, has been the unsung hero. Its short life cycle and simple genetics have allowed scientists to unlock the fundamental secrets of heredity, disease, and development, leading to breakthroughs that impact human health every day. From the oxen that fed our first cities to the horses that built our empires. From the silkworm that wove a global economy to the beaver that drew the map of a continent. From the rat that toppled feudalism to the cow that gave us vaccines. From the pigeon that saved a battalion to the finch that revealed our origins, and the dog that reached for the stars. Animals are not just bystanders in the human story. They are protagonists, catalysts, and co-authors of our shared destiny. They are the hidden architects of history, and their contributions, once seen, can never be forgotten. If these stories blew your mind and changed the way you see history, show your support and hit the like button. Share this video with friends and family who need to know the real story. And for more extraordinary tales you were never taught in school, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next.